Hello, everybody. Welcome to another daily dose of gaming news and all that good stuff. And as always, I also publish on Rumble, Patreon, and anything else I usually go about on Twitter X. Later today, I will be able to publish another episode of Death Stranding. At this moment in time, I think I mentioned this last time I did the gaming news. I basically kind of wrapped up the main story. I still have some stuff to do. I'll see how it follows up with anything story wise. But I think I have at this moment in time an opportunity to wrap up some stuff there. But yeah, it's been a wild ride, Kojima style, which I do appreciate it. But yeah, I'm enjoying very much the game there. Um, and yesterday I did not manage to do a gaming news. I was out all day. Again, summer seems to be an indication that it's a pretty busy time for me. But yeah, it might happen here and there. Not be able to do a gaming news show. But yeah, let's get going. We got some rumors here of the first Zen 6 samples being distributed to, I assume, motherboard manufacturers. And we got some stuff regarding some specifications. It's always been rumored that Zen 6 will have more cores per CCD. At least that's the perception I got from what I've been seeing, which is, for example, the 7700X, so the 8 cores, one CCD. There's going to be a lower end, let's say the Zen 6, so the 10,000 at this moment, 10,060 will have, or 10,600 will have less cores, but they will be ramped up at least to 12 cores for classic Zen 6 cores. So supposedly instead the for example the 10,700 series, again this is the provisionary naming scheme for the Zen 6, because we have the 9,000, so 10,000 series. Will have, instead of 8 cores, so the 700 class will have 12 cores instead of 8 cores. And again, with the dual CCDs models, so the 10,900 series will have, instead of the 16, will have 24 cores. Assuming that it is going to be the case, I will assume so, given that, again, 12 cores on a classic, 12 cores on the classic CCDs. While supposedly the lower end, so the 600 series will have, instead of 6, will probably have 8 or 10. Again, it's not official information. Again, this is all rumored. And the fact that there's going to be supposedly some improvements regarding the memory controllers. Supposedly they will feature 2 memory controllers, which supposedly can be an indication that will support higher frequency clocks there, and other types of memories like the QDM stuff there, which is, again, if it is true, it will be something good to see. And a lot of this comes from this guy, Yuri Budliy, which is a guy that, again, I think he's a software engineer that does some, oh my god, some software regarding, oh my god, the fact that this site doesn't allow me to highlight stuff, it's a little, the creator of hydro tuning software. So he supposedly says there's not going to be any kind of new boost technologies, and the core optimizer seems to remain unchanged. So Hydra support is on software won't be an issue. Basically, it's not going to be a revolution in the sense there's going to be architectural changes, in the sense that they're going to switch around stuff. There it seems to be an evolution, so get more IPC and probably some more optimization in terms of power consumption. Again, it's kind of fine tuning the Zen 5 architecture, because if not mistaken, Zen 5 also did some changes there regarding 3D cache there, which I'm sure is going to be evolving with this Zen 6. Again, that's the perception that I get. And again, this is rumor, but all the rumors seems to be consistent with this, which is going to have more cores per CCD. There's going to be an uplift in IPC, so the CPUs will going to be faster. And there is this kind of new thing for me, which is the dual memory controller, which supposedly will be able to handle higher clocks on the RAM and to support newer RAMs in the case of the QDIM stuff there. In other stuff, we got NVIDIA. Again, very interesting how this can lend us to the fact, to the logical conclusion of why NVIDIA is in this week being evaluated now in $4 trillion market cap. Again, I think this has some influence here by the fact that there seems to be some companies that use the NVIDIA AI chipset stuff, AI accelerators, as a collateral for loans, which is weird, and it feeds it's kind of the speculation market feeding itself in a bubble. That's why I think this. I don't know how long this will last. This thing with AI bubble there, because again, this is not a good strategy, specifically to medium to long term. By the fact that that again, companies are getting loans of $1 billion, putting the collateral damage as the AI accelerators themselves, which is again, it's very weird. Again, I'm not a economist or a financial guy here, so it baffles me a little bit how you can put something as a collateral damage, because then supposedly this because if you have a collateral specifically on these accelerators, basically you cannot use them. And if you are a firm that will need those accelerators to gain money because it's your business model, if you cannot use them because they need to be served as a collateral, because if you use them, you're going to take a chance of the accelerators getting degraded over time, so it would devaluate, and the fact that it's technology stuff, so it will eventually devaluate when new things come to the market. Again, I don't understand this. This is going to be a huge trouble in the near future. At least that's my perception there. Because a London-based cloud startup, FluidStack, has managed to get over $10 billion in funding from financial institutes like Macquarie, showing that NVIDIA AI GPUs have now real value in financial markets. Again, this is not good because it's not something that can evaluate itself in the future. It's something these AI accelerators will only devaluate, being used or not, which is very weird what they are trying to do here in this kind of shenanigans, financial shenanigans. Again, this is reported, Coreware got chips from NVIDIA like the H100, this is not the Grace Hoppers, this is the first ones, AI GPUs, which were used to secure loans up to $10 billion through GPU-backed financing. With the funding, CoreWeave might have decided to buy new accelerators, and the bandwagon keeps on going in circles. So they use the accelerators, at least these ones, to secure a loan. They get the money, they will buy more GPUs, and then they get more loans with these new GPUs. Because if again, I assuming the H100 are the lower end of stuff, or the early AI accelerators that NVIDIA started to, in a couple of years time, they managed to start launching to the market. They evaluate that as collateral damage for a $10 billion loan. Then with that loan, they will get more, I don't know, newer AI accelerators, and then they will use that as another security to get another loan. I assume there is something they are going to try to do with this, and eventually, of course, something will cater and going to I don't know, get destroyed, because I think it's unsustainable model, and I think in the tech industry it might work similar, like it did with the bubbling house, the bubble of housing in the United States in 2008, when that thing blew up, because again, everything then gets mixed up. Then basically you have a piece of hardware uh, which will basically serve as a collateral to multiple loans, because at the end this is what is going to happen. And again, interestingly, some reports claim that AI GPUs are kept as collateral under some sort of lock boxes, which is basically they cannot be used, and they are held as assets until the debt payment is completed. Again, if you're a person or a company that spends, let's say, I don't know, $500 million, um, spends $500 million AI GPUs, then they use that to get, I don't know, $1 billion loan. So you're basically gaining $500 million from that business, from that deal there. Then you can have, with that $1 billion, you put aside some aside for yourself. Then you use the remaining to buy more GPUs to get another loan. In this case, let's say $5 billion instead of $1 billion, because the AI CPU, AI accelerators that you bought are more. Are newer and more, in this case, more valuable. And then this thing keeps feeding itself in a circle jerk of sorts. At least that's the perception that I got. It's like a scheme that it's eventually going to end up collapsing, and I don't think this is going to held for a long time. And I think the fact that these AI accelerators are being used as a collateral for this kind of loans. I think that the AI accelerators by themselves, and the fact that it is NVIDIA that has the main market share of this, because they are being they are being used, sorry, as a collateral damage, as a collateral for the loans. They tend to evaluate, or at least have the perception they are value. They are very valuable, and that will basically inflate the prices of the market share on NVIDIA part there, because then people will start, okay, if this is so valuable, what's the next thing that NVIDIA is going to do that it's going to be better? So it's going to be increased in value as a collateral for the next loan. And again, this circle basically goes around like this until it collapses. It's going to be a matter of time. And in my opinion, I don't think it will last long, because the companies that are lending this money and using this as a collateral, again, or there's going to be a huge merger and acquisitions by the cheap at the end of the day of these companies, or else I don't know what is going to happen there. I think it's going to be a crash on the tech sector regarding AI accelerators and anything related to that. Um, Again, the fact that they are scarce, because again, Nvidia, it's not the company that produces them. They design the chips, so it's kind of an Apple situation. They are dependent on third parties to launch this kind of AI accelerators. And the fact that they are, to a certain case, because there is a lot of demand for it, again, the value of the hardware itself will increase. Again, the demand and supply, basic stuff there, 101. Again, that's why Nvidia managed to hype up the AI accelerator game. That's why they, at this moment, basically are evaluated for $4 trillion in terms of market cap. Again, it's not real value; it's speculated value. But yeah, um, the fact that basically these AI GPUs, given that they are lock boxes, so they are not being used, again, I don't know what they are going to do with this. Again, because they are put as a collateral in loans. And again, as in the article itself, it mentions, is a risk. There is a huge risk with this economic model, which is depreciation of AI accelerators following NVIDIA's new release. Again, it's a tech thing. It's something that you will know in the near future. Something new will come up, and the old hardware will be devaluated again, as simply as the same kind of thing on the DI market. Again, the 4000 series GPUs will cost less, will depreciate in value comparatively to the 5000 series, because it's the newer thing that came up. And even in the cadence of launching every 2 years, you got a new full generation coming up in terms of DIY market on the GPU side of things. The same thing can be said for the motherboards, the CPUs, even monitors and all that jazz. There is something new coming out, and AI accelerators is not different by the fact that it's something there is an incentive of manufacturing something better in the near future. Um, I don't know how this is going to work, but again, for the time being, it seems to be a lot of money going around there. I don't know how these companies that finance these loans will be able to deal with things when the bubble pops. But at this moment, NVIDIA is doing a lot of gains regarding this because, again, there is huge demand on this because these little companies or big companies, they see the incentive of buying these accelerators to get even more money for them to start this circle of getting AI accelerators as as collateral. Basically, it's like the housing in the sense that you put a second mortgage and you put the house as a collateral for that loan. The same thing can be said for example, the gold, but gold usually doesn't devalue over time. It's like a different asset. And again, they're using very deprecable assets that depreciate in very short time as a collateral and as an asset for these loans. Again, this will not end well. At least that's the perception that I got, given that I'm not a very financial and economic kind of a guy there, but at least that's the perception I get. But when I see a scheme that it seems to be, I don't know, very washy-washy, I tend to spot some stuff that are completely red flags for me. And in this case, he's using AI accelerators as a collateral for loans, especially in the orders of magnitude of billions of dollar loans. This will not end well. Um, we'll see how this will end up, but it will not end up for a lot of people. Only a few people in these scenarios usually end up well in these kind of schemes. In other stuff, there seems to be some debate um, regarding the Xbox Game Pass and the business deal, business how it is run. There was on the layoff supposedly this guy Ian McIntyre was supposedly was a senior business development manager at Microsoft, shared his experience section of his LinkedIn page that helped negotiate over 500 deals ranging for 50K over to $50 million deals, securing both indie hits and AAA titles for Game Pass. Again, um, this is not some kind of people blowing the whistle or something like that. It's basically on the LinkedIn page, try to hype himself up for the next position. And basically, again, we need to take it with a grain of salt. Again, we don't know exactly how accurate these deals are in terms of range from 50K to 50 million. But it's a good starting point to have an analysis here. But yeah, again, for at least the perception that I get, Game Pass as the business to function on profit margins. And again, usually when it enters in the discussion, we just put the raw numbers in the sense that how much it cost in terms of production budget the game to work to be done. Sorry, and then when you put it on Game Pass, how much of that slice of pie in terms of profits goes to the studio itself, and then what in terms of revenue, what Game Pass gets out of it. Again, there is a lot of math to do there. I think you have to take other things in consideration. Not only the expenses that you pay for the studios to get the game in the system there, the Game Pass. You have infrastructure for sure on maintaining the service themselves, the server costs, also the personnel associated with the Game Pass infrastructure, and all that jazz. Again, there is also taking in account there is royalties if certain games achieve certain goals while they are on Game Pass service there, some extra royalties paid there or fees paid there. Again, there is a lot of math to take in account, but again, if my memory serves right, at the time, I don't know, last year or something like that, where there was a similar discussion. I think it was at the time they did another round of layoffs last year. There was an analyst that did a rough math on the thing and taking into account the pricing of the tiers of the service, plus the fact taking some rough numbers of service fee, maintenance, and all that jazz, plus how much the games will cost to make. And I don't think at the time it took in account the Blizzard Activision deal in terms of expenses. But at the time, I think he hovered around like a rough number of around 200 million users, if they are all on the basic tier, if not mistaken, for the service to have some kind of profitability, taking out the revenues and expenses associated with that. Um, uh, Again, I don't know if, given that a lot of information is not passed through like open source kind of a thing there, I think there should be a discussion there, especially for people that have Game Pass associated. If they have, I don't know, Xbox plus a Microsoft account or Xbox account there with a lot of huge library of games, because if the fact that they are quadruple down on the Game Pass strategy has a business model, and basically the signs that we've been seeing regarding hardware, they are not looking good. The handheld seems pretty good, but it's something that it's not invested from, it's not a huge investment from Xbox, in the sense they just put a sticker on available hardware, and then all the trouble that you will have to, I don't know, the extra resources needed to optimize games for that hardware, because it's not something that it's built in the infrastructure of Xbox. We've got, for example, PlayStation. They use they manufacture or design hardware that is going to be specific for PlayStation, and then everything around it goes in terms of game development. Everything goes around in optimizing everything for that specific hardware that was designed specifically to take into account the PlayStation infrastructure, given development, hardware, and all that jazz. In terms, also in terms of support and optimization for that specific hardware for that specific generation. And when these kind of things happens, there is a planning of a long-term support for the ecosystem or the business model that PlayStation has, which is something that similarly Xbox is not doing. They were doing until they launched Xbox Series X, but then they start catering with something more degraded, which was the Xbox Series S. They lost a lot of sales because then you got it's one of the things that compound the effect of the fact that I think Xbox lost some sales there in terms of games, because we saw some games that were pulled out, not launched, and they only coming a few years afterwards, because it is very difficult to optimize games for the Xbox Series S. And when you launch games on Xbox, you have to launch for both consoles at the same time, or else you cannot launch. Again, I'm not sure how this, in terms of Game Pass holding Xbox as a company, because if this fails, and the company shuts down again, they have Microsoft on the back, but again, Microsoft is a company that likes to make money. I don't think they like to bleed money consistently on a monthly basis just to cater for some gamers, because that's their point of view. And I think people need to realize that even though Game Pass is an awesome deal for it from a consumer's perspective, in the end of the day, it's not a good deal for the company itself if it doesn't achieve certain goals. And by the end, if a business cannot have any kind of revenue or profit that can justify that service to be maintained, they will eventually shut down. Even with Microsoft behind and being able to bleed money for now, but it's going to be very hard in terms of financials inside the company to justify an acquisition, the latest one of $70 billion, and not making that money in a time frame. Because again, the expenses continue because games are keep being made. And it seems that the revenue of lost sales of not selling a copy of the game, and by putting that on a Game Pass system, the money that they are losing Probably it's not. I don't know. They will need to. Again, my opinion is I think they should turn more to kind of a model similar to PlayStation Plus, which is games that already came out. They've been for already through that cycle of getting the most sales out of that and putting it on a similar service like that. It suits best because they manage to optimize and maximize the potential sales of a game than to just launching a service that if they have the same players just or at least sometimes half of the players that play on Xbox Game Pass, if they pay the full price, probably the game will have I don't know cover the cost of the manufacturing of producing sorry that game, plus the fact that again we've been seeing an inflation in terms of production costs for the games that are launching, especially in the AAA space. Again, I don't think this is going to be, at least medium to long term, I don't think this is a good strategy for them to triple, quadruple, and I don't know how many times they're going to continue with this Game Pass as the main source of revenue for them. I don't think this is going to work in the long term. Continue with some news here. We got a Minecraft creator saying that if buying a game is not purchased, then pirating is not theft, which is something to a certain degree that I agree. People tend to forget sometimes that piracy online. The problem with piracy online is a matter of convenience of service, and Steam, in a certain sense, did manage to solve that situation. They managed to provide the service for customers, given the ease of use of accessing games, a lot of variety of sales here and there, and according to some studies, the fact that Steam has, at least on the PC side of things, the fact that they have a huge influence on the PC gaming scene, and the fact that they managed to get give customers a very accessible way of purchasing games, and with the sales that exist on Steam, give the opportunity of people accessing games and buying games at a cheaper price sometimes. And the fact that it can be accessed basically all over the world, with some exception of sanctioned countries, let's say, it really diminished the piracy of games. And the fact that again it goes in line that again with this Ubisoft, EA, these AAA companies, publishers that think that you don't owe nothing and you'll be happy, you that the fact that you spend, I don't know, $80 for a game, and then they can decide whenever they want to shut down the game, shut down the servers, or remove the games out of the libraries. Basically it's a stealing to the customers. um, and I think there needs to be some revisions on the digital management and digital ownership of people that buy services, or even if they rent. There needs to be some kind of protections, and people or consumers and customers should not be dependent of the whims of companies. There needs to be some protections, or else I don't know where this is going. But yeah, the Minecraft creator has renewed his thoughts in light of the Stop Killing Games initiative, which I think is a good initiative, which is can be resumed in very simple ways, which is the online petition is seeking to gather enough signatures to propose a bill to the UK and European parliaments. Again, the thing is block game developers and publishers from making games that can eventually be killed by permanently taking down servers. That's simple. It encompasses multiplayer games, single player games, any game that can be killed by permanently taking down servers. Again, no can do. And there is a lot of technical ways of going about it. And of course, we already got a lot of responses from publishers that already said that if there is ever to pass, it will be prohibitively expensive for them, which sounds like a hidden threat or even further price increases. Again, they are going to do what they can do to lobby against this. They will come up with any kind of pressure points or any kind of justifications to, if the thing's going to pass, they will increase the price of games or something like that. and if it doesn't, they will increase regardless. Again, it's one of those things. And basically, the in the context of this, stop killing games. If buying games not purchased and pirating them is not theft, which is basically, if you give, it's basically, you, if you're getting robbed, if you rob somebody, it's robbing the thief kind of a mentality there, which to a certain degree I agree. But yeah, when asked what game developers and publishers should do instead of shutting down the games, the Minecraft creator pointed out that all games used to allow players to host their own servers, which effectively keep those games alive even after the actual developer turned off their official servers. Again, that's simple. It's just something that you can put on the code of the game before you shut down the game. I think it's something relatively easy to implement. Even in complicated modern games, I think it's something that it can be done regardless. Again, if you're going to shut down the game, if you're not planning to make money out of it, just at least let the people that paid for that game to continue to play the game there. Again, one of the tactics of shutting down these things is because they have um, is try to remove competition of the market from themselves in terms of games. Because if they can put out new stuff for people to spend more money on it, they will prefer that, and with that they, I don't know, kill games to avoid competition within themselves. Basically, I think it's also one of the reasons they don't have any issues of shutting down the games, because they already took the money, so might as well take more money. But yeah, we'll have to try to follow up. And again, I think the petition is still online. If you are a European citizen or a UK citizen, I do recommend for you to sign up here to make it a strong, to pass a strong message that gamers, again, they don't like this of getting robbed because somebody in a corporation decided to shut down the game that a lot of people already spent money on it. In terms of continuing with this thing here, we got again, there was news a couple of days ago of Subnautica 2 delay confirmed. Krafton claims delay decision was not influenced by any contractual or financial consideration. Again, supposedly this will not allow them to earn the $250 million bonuses from the developer of Subnautica 2. It's not quite that straightforward. Again, this game was always going to be launch in a early access mode, so it's not going to be the full game. Again, it has its own issues by launching, given that they are under Krafton. But the fact is, there were some internal testing, supposedly, at least that's what Krafton says. There was some internal testing. They said the game was not bad, but they wanted to improve some other stuff there before launching in early access. So it might give you a clue in what state the game is. I remember seeing the Subnautica 2 announcement trailer. I don't know when, a couple of months ago at least. I didn't like that much what they were trying to do there. Again, I never played the first one, even though the setting and the gameplay system seems to be interesting there. But yeah, I think there was a little bit of a backlash on that trailer. But yeah, this game was always going to be launched on early access. Again, I don't know if they wanted to rush the early access for this game to try and get the revenue targets by 2025, because if they manage to get some revenue targets by 2020, by the end of 2025, then they got the bonus of $250 million bonus there. Again, it's not the fact that they, if they launch the game before the end of the year, they will get that bonus automatically. No, it's something to do linked with the contract that they have. If they reach a certain revenue target by the end of this year, they could add this extra bonus there. So I think it's a clarification that I think I saw some titles there that they were, if the game didn't launch, they will lose this bonus. No, supposedly it's still possible. But yeah, according to the developer, again, when you are under a boss, if that guy, you can have all the contracts, but if they have the leverage of going around in the seams and make it a little bit more difficult for you to get around doing some stuff, they will do it. But yeah, that's why I think self-publishing is a better option. but then again, there is some benefits of being under a publisher, because again, you have the financial support and the technical support also from the developer, from the publisher, but you have to follow some rules there. It's just not a honeypot there to get extract money and develop more game as you wish. You have to abide by the contract there to a certain degree. But yeah, it seems that Krafton decided that the game was not in sufficient good conditions to be launched in early access before the end of the year, and now it's going to be launched early 2026, it seems. But yeah, I hope this serves as a little bit of clarification. Doesn't see it doesn't. It's not that they delay the game just automatically not to have this $250 million bonus given to Unknown Worlds development team. Is basically a revenue target that it's on play here. But yeah, I think that the fact that they could launch in early access could boost a little bit the revenue enough for them to reach the threshold to get this bonus money. But I don't think so. Let's see how this goes. But yeah, it what's happened when you have a publisher that have certain conditions to trigger this kind of things there. Then lastly, we got here Oblivion Remaster patch 1.2. It's now on beta testing. It supposedly reduces a lot of the open world stutters that is being plagued by this game. Again, Unreal Engine game. It always going to have, and until they fix this shit of the frame rate drops and the lack of optimization that the engine seems to have overall, it seems to be needed a lot of resources to try to fine tune this game. Um, but yeah, it's on beta. You need to go, if you have this game on Steam. You need to go to sign up for the beta stuff there. It's on the options inside of the game options. You can just check the box that to include beta patches to be included there. It's something that it's relatively easy to do. And not only did they fix a lot of optimization stuff there, I think they added a new difficulty mode or something like that. Again, I didn't play this game. I missed the boat on the original one. And I got a lot of stuff to be playing around. At this moment, I don't have time to play around with Oblivion Remaster. It seems to be the better games from the Elder Scrolls series. But yeah, I missed the boat at the time, and I'm again, maybe one of these days I will play this game here. I don't know. We'll see. Then last we got here some news regarding Routine, which was a game that the last time I heard of it was 2022 with a that they launched a trailer, I think on the Game Awards show, if not mistaken. But now we got a little bit more updates here. Again, it's very interesting what they're trying to do here. It's got a lunar base where supposedly it's a horror game. You got a lunar base you have to escape from, it seems. Very 80s aesthetic there. The vibe that gave me was a little bit of Alien Isolation there, if I want to compare with other games that I played, which is very interesting. And the updates that we got is again they are a very small team. At this moment, they are a core development team of three. Again, they have external help, but again, these are the three main people that are working on a daily basis on the game. Um, but yeah, the one of the step backs that they had was regarding the soundtrack, which was being doing by, oh my god, I completely forgot, Mick Gordon. Um, he spent a lot of time working on Routine. However, July last year, he had a difficult decision to leave the project because of conflicts in his schedule. During his time with us, Mick created many outstanding audio assets that will be featured in the final game, providing invaluable audio direction for the team. This contribution will now implemented by a new audio designer and team. Again, it was kind of a delay there, but they are working on it. Basically, that's the announcement there. But they don't want to commit to a release window commit to a release window yet, before they absolutely can achieve that window. Again, very small core team of developers. Um, we'll see how it goes. I'm very interested about this game because the aesthetics, the vibes that the game gives seems very interesting. Again, I think there is a lot of AI influence regarding the themes they're trying to get around, and I think you will fight many robots there on the game, which is very interesting. And they launch with this update newsletters. They launch a couple of more screenshots of environments there to give you a better sense of what they're trying to achieve there. And I wish list this game at least in 2022. And I was kind of wondering what happened with this game, but again, it seems to be on the path of launching one of these days. Again, small core team of developers. It will take some time there. I don't know, unless they can accelerate somehow. But yeah, it's one of those that I'm very interested in. But yeah, in terms of news, again, given that it's Friday, we got some deals. Again, summer sales fest of Steam wrapped up already. But we still have some lingering deals here. We still have Batman Arkham Collection till the 17th, 85% off. We got Bioshock the Collection also until the 24th, 80% off. We got Cocoon until the 24th for 40% off. The same thing can be said from Journey because it comes from the same publisher, 67% off until the 24th. We got Metaphor ReFantasio until the 14th. It's 40% off at this moment. You can still buy Red Dead Redemption 2 for 75% off on the base game until the 24th. We got Stray, again, from Annapurna till the 24th for 40% off. Again, you play as a cat. What else can you say there? And then last, we got Vampire. Similar, very interesting game where you play as a vampire, then got some choices and consequences kind of a thing there. Seems very interesting, and by 80% off, I think it's worth the price of admission here because I think they do some interesting stuff on the game, at least from the reviews that I saw at the time. But yeah, I'm going to wrap up here for today. With the plug on my Patreon, sorry, for extra support. Again, the support is more aligned for me to try and get a better storage solution for me, and also for having backups for my clients. And yeah, with all that said, hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one. So until then, Kunamy Master out.